behind the podium thing. We're all sitting here, gathered together as family and friends. And I just think that that would be the best way that Mom would have liked it as well. She loved hosting, she loved people getting together and having a good time. So I encourage you throughout this time, feel free to grab some more food. What we're going to do right now is just kind of kick off some remembrance time for Mom. So I'll just say a few words, and then I have my cousin Bo, Reverend Bo Nelson, is going to be here as well. Just want to say, everyone, thank you for braving the weather to join us today and celebrating the life of my mom, Nancy Otto. Some logistics before we begin. We'll have a couple of microphones available. Natalie has one, and Bo has another one as well. Anyone can feel free to, no pressure. Feel free to just raise your hand if you have something you want to share, or a memory, a happy moment, anything along those lines. Absolutely encouraged to do. So please note that our speakers, including myself, intend to keep it brief. We want this time to be about you. We want it to be about memories of Mom. So before we start, I just kind of want to say on a personal level, preparing this speech was pretty challenging for me. My colleagues at D&M will probably be the first to tell you that usually I'm not at a loss for words, especially doubly so if you get me started talking about a financial topic. I usually can, I'll scare my coworkers by saying, well, I've got about 3 hours of financials here to share with you. Fortunately, I forgot my slideshow. Otherwise, we would be here for a while. But how do you summarize 73 years on this planet in just a few minutes and try to do justice to it? There really is no good way. Mom was many things to many people. She was a city councilwoman, an employee, a wife, daughter, sister, aunt, grandma, friend, helper, advisor, local politician. To me, she was simply Mom. The only one I ever knew. She'd be on the news. I remember, her political career started when I was pretty young. She'd be on the news for some sort of political thing, save the parks, or the petition to do that battle. And I probably reacted something like, oh, that's nice. Now where are my Ninja Turtles? It was just normal for me growing up to have Mom be on the news or do this, that, or the other thing. It was years later that I realized how exceptional of a person that she really was. And how lucky we all are, to have her in our lives. So today, rather than try to, bring up a specific memory or anything like that, I'm just going to reflect on some of the choices that she made in her life that made her life the example that it has been for all of us. She loved to teach, and I think that her example is a beautiful lesson for us all. So the first choice that she made is faith. She chose faith. Faith in God, faith in the divine was always extremely important to her. And both Mom and Dad structured their lives with much of their lives and decisions around their shared faith. In fact, a lot of the people that we have here were from their relationships in the church, and a lot of that meant a great deal for both of them. Second decision that she made, second choice that she made that I think defined her is forgiveness. She chose to forgive. And not just for her kids, and thank goodness, because yes, we definitely needed forgiveness at times for things. The things she found out about, of course. I think she would have forgiven us about the things that she never found out about, but we'll never know. Also for her colleagues, though, family, and others. She forgave in situations where I would have struggled. And I think her example in that is a very telling example. Courage. She chose to stand up when no one else would. And that was exemplified in the Save the Parks battle. She had no intention of entering city politics. She was a mom with young kids. She just stood up and did it because nobody else was going to. And she wanted to do something right for the city and make sure that the park stayed a park forever. And that launched her on a trajectory to becoming a public figure. But she had no intention to do that. She only did it because she didn't think that anyone else would do it. But it took a lot of courage, and it took a lot of learning for her to do that. And I think that was a great example and a great choice. Another choice, service. She chose to serve others over herself. Whether it was all the time and energy she put into the city council, helping the elderly, helping our neighbors, our cousins. She provided food, organized events, did a whole bunch of things, but her whole life was about serving others. She loved to serve and did it freely with no expectations of receiving anything in return. She viewed it as sharing the blessings that she was so fortunate to receive. Connection. She chose connection. She was often called the glue that kept the whole family informed and together. I only have one post on Facebook. It's, hey everybody, I'm on Facebook. And then I never saw it again. Who needs Facebook when you had somebody like Mom in your life that would tell you what was happening with the family, that would keep people informed? And her role in that, she did it just effortlessly, she did it kind of naturally, but I know it took a lot of work for her to do, and I'm so grateful for that, and that will definitely be missed. Resilience. She chose resilience. There were a lot of times during her life when she was facing down political, financial, work pressures. She faced them down with unwavering strength and determination. She and Dad relentlessly pursued the American dream and achieved their version of the American dream, starting with a small fixer-upper in North Moorhead, one that she cried the first night that they were there because it just was in such a state that she wasn't there, or that she wasn't sure that they wanted to stay there. But they steadfastly transformed that house into a loving home and have been there for half a century. Fun. She also chose fun. From fast cars in high school to guys like Dad who maybe drove a little too fast in his car. They told the story about Dad slamming on his brakes and sliding past the driveway and then slamming it in reverse and backing up when he picked her up for her first date. That was a great first impression for her dad, I'm sure. She also liked to cheer on her favorite sports teams, and she loved to be on the ground playing with the grandkids. And she was, almost as loud or louder than the kids were. Sometimes we couldn't actually tell who was louder at times. So the choices she made during her life, time and time again, helped shape her life and the impact that she had on those around her. So here's to you, Mom. To a life well lived, to one which touched so many. Your family, your friends, your colleagues, and the community, we will all miss you. You were taken from us too soon, but we were lucky to have you in our lives. Thank you all. Now I want to introduce Bo to come up and say a few words.